Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we dig in deep to analyze the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. I'm Andy Nelson from thenextreel.com. We are, of course, talking about Jon Favreau's 2008 film Iron Man. And joining me again today is Krissy, Lenz, and Nathan Blackwell from the Most Excellent 80s Movies podcast. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having us on.
Glad to have you. Glad to dig in a little more to this minute. And it's nice to finally get the reveal of that actual mask that we were hinted at in the last minute, but we didn't really get to see what exactly it was that Tony was working on. On today's show, the minute, of course, starts with Tony proving just how steady Yinsen's hands are by dropping the Mark I mask on the table in front of him while he's delicately soldering. And it ends with Raza interrupting his men's break by making them run to check on the prisoners. This is the mask. We finally get to see that mask in all its glory.
And it's exciting. It's steaming. It looks like they unless it's a digital effect, it looks like they actually had a hot mask that they dipped in water. You actually see it kind of steaming off and then the water evaporating off of it. If it is a digital, it's a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. That's a tiny little detail that makes it seem so cool.
Yeah, I love that look. And I love to think that they were trying to do stuff practically. I mean, how hard is it to just put a hot mask in some boiling water and then just take it out and set it and just watch that evaporation and watch the steam pulling away from it? And you can see the moisture, like you were saying, the lines of the moisture moving across it. I like to think that it's practical because it just looks so stinking cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be like hundreds of degrees hot. It only has to be like boiling water hot, you know?
Right, yeah. Just boil a pot of water, throw the metal in it, and then pick it up with tongs and drop it on the table.
Yeah.
You don't even need Robert Downey Jr. to do it. Don't burn the actor. Get the prop master to handle that.
Yeah, you have a production assistant in charge of the boiling water.
Guys, if you're making movies at home, don't burn the actor.
This is our montage, guys. We get the montage.
Love it.
Yes, and so it's like a mix of a training montage and like a tooling up montage where people are like locking and loading their guns. It's a robot building. It's almost like the A-Team.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's like with the A-Team, you'd have them like, soldering stuff and hammering things down and like bringing in materials and everyone's sweating and everyone's giving each other a thumbs up. And then you finally see like the finished result and it's just kind of like a small ledge that they can all jump down on the bad guys from or something.
Well, it was kind of like when he's putting the tape and stuff like in between his fingers. I don't know. There was some stuff where it was just like, oh, wow, he really thought this through, because I definitely wouldn't have taken the extra step to like tape in between the fingers, and there's just so many layers and stuff that they would have had to like sew. Did they have a sewing machine? It's a lot of costuming.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on other than just the actual iron suit, just this metal suit. He's got the heavy duty gloves that he's putting on, and kind of like you said, kind of the boxer tape or whatever it is for his hands to kind of protect them, and the coat and everything. And I'm wondering if it's like some form of a flame retardant coat or something, because I'd feel like if people are shooting at it or launching missiles at this suit, and I feel like the metal has the potential to heat up. So you want something between you and that metal, so you're not just like, getting giant burns on your skin from that.
And it looked like the collar in particular looked like something you would wear when you're welding something big with like a big arc welder or something that's going to throw a lot of sparks and throw a lot of heat, that you would have like a big tall collar like that. So I guess it makes sense that it would be part of his kit, part of the things he asked for in his writer.
It's so nice that everything is so physical and real, and we're able to kind of imagine what it would feel like, what it would because with a lot of these like fantastic superhero stuff, the stuff that we were later going to see with Iron Man, like this feels real, and it's a moment where you want to feel like you're building a hero with Tony Stark. All these pieces, they're like stuff that you've seen in real life.
There's something about the way that he's doing it, and it just feels so clunky and big, but you can see it working still. And it reminds me of the first Spider-Man movie when he kind of makes his own little homemade Spider-Man suit and goes to the boxing thing to earn the money. It's just kind of fun to see these heroes trying to, do the first time and first time out of the gate. And it's so rough and tumble and, just a little sloppier. And I really like that about this because in the context of who Iron Man is, I mean, you've got these raw welding lines across this chest piece that he's kind of getting himself put into, lowered down on him. And everything just feels kind of just, like they only just finished it, which technically they did because they only had 24 hours to really do it. But I like the way that it feels because it does have that sense of this raw, visceral quality that I think works really well for who this guy is.
Raw and dangerous because, those welding lines could snap. They could shoot right into the arc reactor in his chest, right? They could shoot right into the giant eye holes. There's a lot of risk,
Right.
It could all crumble and fall apart. It's not perfect. It's not safe.
And you definitely need this kind of bridge from where he starts off in the beginning of the movie as a real person to where we're eventually going to go with Iron Man.
Yeah, right. Getting that, how we're going to kind of transition and see the character arc as he is growing and becoming the new Tony Stark, kind of the representation of who he is through the suit is also going to change over the course of the film.
He's building a brand new persona.
And at first it's going to be a little clunky and awkward. And
right.
It's not going to look great. Yeah. It's going to take some time to slim down and get really efficient and look good. But I think I like too that how detail oriented and how many things, you like get a sense that Tony is really able to multitask and keep, he always seems like he has 50 million things happening in his mind at any given time. And he definitely does, because they're memorizing how many steps until you turn right, how many steps forward. Like, he thought the entire thing through from the knuckle tape to how many steps it's going to take him so he doesn't get lost in the cave because it doesn't have GPS yet.
Yeah. And that's a great touch because then we as audience members are trying to very briefly remember like the information that he's trying to remember, how many steps left, how many steps right. We're really kind of experiencing what he's experiencing right now.
And getting very stressed out that he's going to put on this heavy suit and be like, oh God, how many steps have I lost? I got to go back. I didn't count.
That's literally what I do anytime that comes up with a movie. Just like anytime someone has to hold their breath, there's this part of me is like, oh, I've been holding my breath for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just
right. You're like, was that 41 steps or did he turn down the wrong hallway?
There's a whole 20-minute deleted scene where he's like, oh, geez, I was just in the break room. I'm just here.
Right.
I'm lost.
I'll go back and start all over again.
Oh, there is a boardroom here.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps, turn left. Yeah.
It is funny because we do see a brief shot as Raza's watching on the screen trying to figure out what's going on, and he sends his men to go look. There is a ladder or almost like stairs behind them, but in no sense through this entire film or through like looking at the blueprints in the books or anything like that. Has it ever seemed like this is a multi-level cave? Yeah. It's always looked like just a single level cave. So it's just very funny. As I looked at that, I'm like, why do they have a set of like stairs back in the back there?
Someone was changing the air filters.
Is that what that is? Maybe there's a little tiny upper level where some people sleep. I don't know. It was one of those little things. I'm like, why is there stairs back there?
Yeah, it's a neat touch.
Yeah. I've done some spelunking, and I will say this cave is it's designed to look like a cave with cave walls and everything, But in every other context, it looks very much like a set because it's so perfectly flat. And I've never walked through a cave that has such a beautifully flat floor as this one does.
These guys did a great job.
Yeah, they did. Obviously, I'm assuming that these terrorists have been living here so long that they've actually done some cleaning and they've probably thrown in some dynamite trying to kind of clean it up and make it look a little more workable for where they're going to be living and sleeping and doing everything because they're hiding. They don't want anybody to know where they are.
It's a very spacious cave, though. There are lots of chambers and rooms and places to run to and run from and hide people. That's definitely a high-end market cave. That's prime cave real estate.
And it makes me wonder if there's a tunnel that they haven't gone down yet, that if they do, it will take them to where the albino cannibals live that would inevitably eat them.
Yeah, almost certainly.
We can get the Descent films tied into the MCU somehow.
Yeah, let's check the deleted scenes again. See if they've got
See if we can find something there.
Or if there's maybe a cave realtor who's like, this is a 4-bedroom cave. It's really nice and spacious, but if you want something, a little bit more roomy, you're going to have to watch out because it does have Descent monsters in it. It's got a pool, but inside that pool are cave-dwelling monsters.
Albino cannibals.
Right, just you may want to avoid that.
Yes.
Just FYI. That's why it's so cheap.
Right. The shot of that suit coming down over Tony when it lines up perfectly with the RT device in his chest. I love how they actually built that, where he's got the circle in the front of his suit, which is completely unneeded, right? There's no
it seems dangerous.
Logical reason to have
you don't
that.
want that exposed. That's the piece of you that makes you die.
Right. And have a little piece. I mean, it must be reinforced glass or something because obviously bullets aren't getting through there either. But, I mean, let's face it. It looks pretty stinking cool. We do, as I mentioned, we do have Raza. Again, I don't know what these guys are doing, but he was obviously doing something. Maybe he was in the bathroom and now he's walking back up to the monitors. And he's checking it out, and he says to his man next to him, he says, "Where is Stark?" And the man next to him says, "He was here a minute ago." And then he says, "Look for him." And then the two guys go running off, and they say, "Let's go after me." And that's the Urdu translation, again, courtesy of our friends over on Reddit who have helped me translate a number of these bits.
Well, that definitely helps. I thought he was coming in to ask about the air filters.
Did you get them changed? I can't breathe. I'm having a hard time. My allergies.
My asthma is acting up.
I think one of my favorite discoveries in this whole moment of this particular minute, and possibly of this whole film, is as he tells his two men to go run, you see the two men disappear. But if you look very carefully, you can see a movie poster on the cave wall behind them. And that movie poster is actually a Russian Rambo poster.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I see it right now.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It is. I found this poster on a website. It is. It has the Cyrillic text on it. It is the only Rambo movie that was released in the Soviet Union. They banned the second and third films as they were Vietnam's greatest ally after the war, and they were also pulling out of Afghanistan just a little over a week of the release of Rambo 3.
Yeah, because Rambo 3 takes place in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So I think that that's an interesting element that they chose to pick this particular poster because of the ties to Russia and Afghanistan. And here we are. They're fans of Stallone.
Well, who isn't?
It's just fantastic, though. It's such a nice little thing to add there. And it's got the title written in blood up at the top of it.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's so good.
I like the idea that one of them is a movie buff.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. And was Rambo a Paramount picture? I guess it's technically First Blood, right? Orion Pictures. So it was not Paramount that distributed the film, but I guess with the collapse of Orion, it probably made it an easier movie poster to license. Huh. Well, we also have a a deleted scene here, guys.
Yay.
It's a cutaway of Rhodes.
It is. You know, it's actually interesting. Before we get to this scene, this deleted scene we're going to talk about of Rhodes, we actually have a scripted moment that I guess they didn't shoot. It is Pepper at Stark International headquarters. She's in the hallway. She sees Obadiah and Rhodey talking, and they both look very grave. And she goes to talk to Rhodey, and she's like, so that's it? Everyone's pulling the plug and moving on? And Rhodey says, there's nothing left we can do. If there was any indication Tony was still alive. And then Pepper says, spare me. I read the official email, thought maybe you'd have something different to say. If anyone could figure out how to beat the odds, it's Tony. If it was you over there, he'd be finding a way to get you back or inventing a new one. Then Rhodey says, what do you want me to do? And Pepper says, be a better friend to him. And with that, she storms out, leaving him stung. And then we cut directly to this scene that we're going to talk about, this deleted scene with Rhodey actually going to get on the plane, and General Gabriel comes up and talks to him. I don't know. How does this scene play for you guys?
Well, I feel like we don't want to be outside of Tony's experience, you know? It's great to know that his friends care about him, but I want to be trapped in that cave until Tony gets out.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. And I also think it just plays a little confusingly because, of course, the general's like, you're making a terrible mistake. This is a very stupid thing to do. All of these other men would walk through fire to have your career, and you're going to throw it all away to find your friend. And he's like, yeah, that's about it. That's what I'm doing. And the general's like, Godspeed, my friend. Is like, why does everybody... What? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scene from a Michael Bay movie.
And it's like a cliche, you know, that the general has to be like, why? You can't possibly want to do this impossible thing. Yes, I do. Well, I've always known you were going. What? Just say what you mean.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's pretty terribly put together.
And it's like at one point the general says like, you want to go out in the desert and hang out with all the snake eaters or something like that. We're just like, hey, whoa,
Right.
whoa, buddy.
Ooh,
that doesn't.
it's a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
I don't think they were snake eaters, were they? All that parcel tongue.
Death eaters.
Right, Death
But
Eaters,
the snake
they're
comes
Death
out of the
Eaters.
mouth of the dark mark. So it's like he's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're eating a snake.
He never read the books. He just saw the movies.
He's just trying. He's trying.
He saw them once.
Right. He knows
Yeah.
Rhodey's a fan. He's trying to reach out to him and his own language. Trying to put it together.
It's exactly like Nathan said, though. Like, you don't care what Rhodey's doing. Like, you really don't care what Rhodey's doing to try and find Tony. It's all about what Tony's doing to sort of save himself. I don't want Rhodey to get partial credit for traveling over there.
Yeah.
And there's really just nothing that it gives you. And I think there were some other scenes that we do have that were also cut when we jump back to different people, whether it's Pepper or Rhodey, and we get these ideas. Inevitably, they were probably put there to just give us a sense of time as to how long he's gone, because in the script, Gabriel says, listen, son, it's been 3 months without a single indication. So we're getting a sense, and I think that's in the deleted scene too, we're getting a sense from that as to how long this has been going on. It's a very long period of time that Tony has been missing and kidnapped by these terrorists. But otherwise, it's just, yeah, you're right. You don't need any of this. It's just unhelpful, and it just I don't know, it ends up playing really awkwardly. It's a really awkwardly written scene. And I love Bill Smitrovich as the general. I think he has done a lot of great stuff, but even when you're given really bad lines, the greatest actor is still not going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't have anything else for this minute. What about you guys?
I'm excited to see what happens next. I hope Tony gets out of this.
Can't wait.
We're getting close. 33 minutes into the movie, he's still in the cave. But inevitably, he'll have to make it out, right? I mean, come on.
I don't know. I'm so fond of this
It's
cave
really
now.
nice. Yeah.
I hope he never gets out. I hope he takes over the cave. Guys, what's going to happen
Who
with
knows?
this movie?
Anything, really. Rhodey could just show up and be like, I've found you. Forget this whole suit thing. Come with me.
Come back to the cave, everyone. I promise I'll be a great boss.
I'd love to see down the road that Tony actually like buys this plot of land and makes the cave like it's his own little fortress of solitude. He's got a place over there where he can just go relax.
He needs to like get humble and remember his roots.
Right. It's his rosebud. It's this mystery of where does Tony go every year for the week of Christmas? And he just goes back to the cave and he pretends like he lives there again. But he pretends like he's the boss.
Right. He sits at the video monitors.
Right. It's like risky business. He's just sliding around on the socks. I'm in charge.
I like that he does that because that means that he's also had to come in and actually polish the cave floors.
At least one room.
At least one.
Let's
right.
not go crazy.
All right. Thanks again, guys, for joining me. Where can people find you out in the interwebs?
Yeah, so we do the Most Excellent 80s Movie Podcast, which you can find on Most Excellent 80s Pod on all the interwebs and wherever fine podcasts are served.
MostExcellentPod.com or search for Most Excellent 80s Movie Podcast. It's a lot of words. Sorry.
So many words. So many words. Well, everybody, that is it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the show for free over at MarvelMovieMinute.com. You can join us over in our Discord chat room and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Next Reel. If you like what we do and you want to support us and get some cool stuff, become a patron over at patreon.com/thenextreel. Until next time, true believers.